Okay, so we just finished the first season of Adventure Time. What, like 15 minutes ago?
Like 10 minutes ago.
And I was right about to go sit in my car and record it. And as I was going out, Clay's like, "What did you think of season one?" It's like, I was about to tell people. Let's do it together.
Okay.
So, would you like to start?
Okay, so Adventure Time came out kind of past my Cartoon Network phase, like I was more of a Courage the Cowardly Dog, Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls era Cartoon Network. And uh so it came out after my time and I never really watched it. Like I saw like clips of it and like people always making references and memes about it. Uh but I was like, yeah, I wanted to get into it because it feels like I don't want to know. I don't want to say it was like if it's considered Cartoon Network's like last great show because I know there have been other shows after it like Steven Universe, but watching the first season, it sorry, it made me feel like this might be the last like Cartoon Network cartoon because it very much has the same vibe that those like older cartoons had, like Courage, Powerpuff, Samurai Jack, all those. It has like a similar format of it being like short 11-minute episodes, very episodic, uh, and focusing more on just being
Gumball?
Okay, there's Gumball. I feel like Gumball's a little different though.
My allergies have been fucking me up lately.
Oh, sorry to hear that. It's like Adventure Time feels like the last cartoon of a particular era of Cartoon Network. Gumball is definitely really good, but I feel like it's a little. It has a different feeling to it than Adventure Time or those older cartoons have. Um, Honestly, I think it. No, never mind. So, watching this show kind of made me feel like a kid again, just like watching like Cartoon Network because I loved watching Cartoon Network when I was a kid. Whenever I was, I mean, whenever I was, uh, like our own house, we didn't always have satellite TV. It was a spotty thing back then. But like whenever I would go to my grandma's house, they always had like Dish, and I would just watch a bunch of Cartoon Network stuff. That was how I got introduced to anime. Was Toonami. I'm sure a lot of kids got introduced to it.
That and 4Kids, like watching Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and shit.
I never really watched a lot of that. I guess it was just something that never really came up. But this, at least the first season, it feels nostalgic, even though it's not that old and it's not something that I've ever watched before.
I mean, it's like 13 years old.
I mean, 13 years old.
I mean, it's not like old, but it's.
But it is, because it has that similar vibe, it made me feel nostalgic. And I have to give it credit for that. I was a little worried going into it because I knew that Adventure Time would sometimes have like that really juvenile potty humor, and it definitely
does.
But it hasn't very sparse. It only does it a few times, and I never found it super irritating. Like I thought I was gonna hate it, but it was like when it happened, it was either inoffensive or actually kind of funny. And I generally don't like potty humor at all. It's like it is very difficult to make potty humor funny to me. And I don't think it ever really got to that point, but it never made me irritated either, which is something I have to give it credit for. Yeah, there's no plot. It is Adventure Time. Finn and Jake go on adventures, and that's kind of it. They meet a literal, colorful cast of characters, and that's just kind of it. It's just a very episodic format. I know it gets more plot driven later, but at least right now there is no overarching plot. There's no real connective tissue to it, and that's okay. I like that. So, Finn and Jake, the main characters, I love these two goofballs. And I think part of why I love them so much already is I was telling you this a few episodes ago, but this literally feels like two kids playing in a backyard and
It
just
really
making
does.
shit up.
Especially the imagination episode.
Yeah, the imagination
like
episode
100%.
where they're just doing crazy stuff. And that's what it really feels like, is just two best friends just making shit up and like imitating like their favorite anime. Like, let's face it, when we were kids, we all did the fucking Kamehameha.
I still do that.
You still do that. Or like playing with lightsabers out in the backyard. You know, it's one of those things that it's the. I was saying it was nostalgic. I think it's not just nostalgic because it reminds me of older cartoons. It's nostalgic because it reminds me of those pleasant memories from childhood of just being out in nature and just having fun with a friend and not without a care in the world, and going on adventures, you know. I really like these two. I think their relationship works really well, where Finn is the more like bombastic, you know, hot-headed of the two, and Jake is a lot more level-headed. I mean, he's still kind of a hothead, but Jake is usually the one that like tells Finn to calm down, and like think things through,
and to help him get over his fear of the ocean.
That face, man. And yeah, it's like, yeah, you get that big brother little brother relationship, and it works really well. For the side characters, we didn't get a lot of Princess Bubblegum this season.
Like, because I brought that up. I was like, I thought she was in the. I mean, I assume she's gonna be in the show a lot more. And I was like, she's not really in.
I think it was like the 26 episodes we watched. She was maybe in like 5 of them, maybe
something like that. She was in like 5. Ice King was also in about like maybe 5 or 6, but I always felt like he had a big presence whenever he was there. Marcy was in 2.
And she was great in those two.
BMO
literally just showed up.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I thought maybe BMO had like an actual character introduction. Nah, they're just there talking at one point.
Yeah, because it's like, well, the thing is, you see them playing on BMO multiple times before that, and he's just there, and then he just starts talking in one episode. And he's like, I know he's like everyone's precious little cinnamon bun, so I can't wait to see more of him. Let's see. Marceline was really good in the 2 episodes she was in. Bubblegum, in her first few episodes, she was fine. The last episode she was in, she was hilarious. Where she's just like, okay, Finn, we need you to get the Ice King so I can beat the shit out of him.
So I can make him howl in pain.
And they're like, why?
There's no time. Well, I'll tell you later.
Speaks in German.
They're fucking playing Dr. Mask.
And it's like, I know that's kind of the thing where it's like Princess Bubblegum is actually kind of an awful person, and it'll be fun to see more of that going forward. Let's see. Ice King was really fun. I remember, I think it was the last episode he was in where it was like he started giggling at one point. I'm like, there's Tom
the SpongeBob.
It's like, it's Tom Kenny. Love it. I feel like that's kind of it when it comes to recurring. I mean, there was Lady Rainicorn. She showed up in like a few episodes. The episode where they really centered on her was really funny.
The old man voice. I fucking love that so much.
I'm a little...
Actually, you're forgetting the best character in the show.
No, I'm not.
It's me
No,
and my love. I fucking love Ella. I think the voice for LSP is so fucking funny.
Oh my god. I know it's kind of a contentious thing. I think I feel like people are really mixed on Lumpy.
I think it's perfect. She is a perfect character.
I feel like she's good in small doses. Like her focus episode of the season, I was getting real sick of that voice by the end of it. I was
giggling the entire time.
But like in small doses, she's actually really funny. Like in the last episode she was in, where they're like, Finn and Jake are trying to be heroes non-violently in order to appease Billy. And so Lumpy's like, I want a smoking hot bod. And so they do like plastic surgery on her, and she's like, oh yeah, my body is so hot. And they like made her a cyborg, and she starts like frying people.
Who would ever find me hot? "You're the most beautiful I've ever," and the kids fry. That's really funny.
It was really
episode.
funny. And yeah, I really like a lot of the characters so far. I can't wait to see more of them and see more of the characters, like Magic Man. I know apparently he shows
that
up
episode
more.
was great. I loved how much of a piece of shit he
Magic Man was such an asshole, man.
What was the moral we learned from this? To not help people because sometimes they're just dicks.
You did it. You learned my lesson. Was such a jerk. Billy was pretty funny. Honestly, Billy was funny for the fact that it's Lou Ferrigno voicing him, and it's like, I remember you were like, who's that for?
Yeah, I was like, I know it's not Mike Tyson, but it sounds Mike Tyson adjacent.
It sounded vaguely Andre the Giant-ish, but that
could be as soon as you said Lou Ferrigno, I'm like, that makes so much sense. I love it.
Also, the fact that the hero's name is Billy. We have a friend named Billy. And
so I'm just like, if I'm remembering my Adventure Time lore correctly, because I've seen later episodes of Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Ferrigno was Billy, if I'm remembering shit correctly, is actually really funny casting.
I guess I'll find out that joke later.
Yes, if I'm right, if I'm remembering things correctly, I might be very off.
But I found the individual episodes to be pretty funny. There were a few that I was like, this one's okay, but a lot of them were really funny. The Magic Man episode stood out as just being hilarious. The Billy episode was really funny.
Gonna have to shout out the Imagination episode.
The Imagination episode
really like
so
that.
Good.
Might be my favorite of the season.
Yeah, I think the Magic Man episode's up there.
Another one is when Finn goes into the dungeon by himself with the Clancy Brown cat.
Oh, coming out of his like belly button.
Yeah.
No,
that was the Mark Hamill one. The Clancy Brown was the cat. He's like, your dog isn't here. I'm going to rip you into shreds and fucking kill you.
The episode with the Wolves was also really funny. Like, when they knocked the wolves down
we're
the
not
well.
werewolves. We're Wolves. We're very inquisitive and also raging with bloodlust. But we have so many questions about the world.
That was so funny.
Fucking Donnie.
I didn't find Donnie that funny, honestly. Like, that was an episode that was kind of...
I thought Donnie was kind of funny. Just like a freaking tsundere ogre.
But yeah, both Marceline episodes were really funny. I just love how much of just a casual bitch she is. Let's see. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see more. But what do you think of it?
So, to address some of your points, I think it's really interesting that you said you find Adventure Time nostalgic because it feels like in your like the last of a like era of classic Cartoon Network shows. And for me, it's kind of the opposite, where I feel like Adventure Time is the start of modern Cartoon Network. I feel like
it definitely did. Like, a lot of people who worked on Adventure Time went on to make a lot of stuff.
100%. And then it's even kind of its vibe. Like, Adventure Time have a lot of thoughts at once. I'm trying to get them straight. A story I've heard about panning and stalking is that it was inspired at an office party when everyone was drunk as shit. And then they just came up with a bunch of ideas. And then when they sobered up, said, what the fuck is this? Everything is going into this show. That's what Adventure Time feels like. It just feels like someone put up a board and said, we're going to have ideas. Name something. Knife Storm. Okay, that's a thing. Something else. Wolves. Okay, we're going to make an episode about that. Name something else. Vampires. Okay, that's not interesting. Do something with it. They suck the color red. I love that. That's what it feels like, and it feels like a lot of modern Cartoon Network shows, like Gumball. I haven't thought about Uncle Grandpa in years, but like that.
Is that more of a? Was that before or after Adventure Time?
I think that was after.
Huh.
I feel like regular show. A lot of these shows feel like Cartoon Network saw Adventure Time and how successful it was, and then started greenlighting Not to say that these are all like copies of Adventure Time, not at all. But it kind of ushered the way for a lot of these shows, similar to what Gravity Falls did for Disney, where it feels like anytime I watch a new Disney Channel show, I'm like, I can see the Gravity Falls in here.
Mostly because it was made by Gravity Falls.
And they were also made by Gravity Falls alone. So, there's that. One thing... Okay, so like I did 100% agree with Finn and Jake. I love Finn and Jake. I love their relationship. I love it. Like, these are just brothers. The way they fuck around with each other, the way they know how to push each other's buttons, and how it always feels in good fun. These are brothers who adore each other and just want to hang out. Like you said, like it feels like a couple brothers going outside and being like, here's the dumb shit we're doing today. I think that's why like I said, like it feels like a bunch of ideas someone wrote on a board, and it fits the tone of the show incredibly well. Now, I do know, like, Adventure Time is something that gets very, very lore heavy. And there wasn't a whole lot of it in Season 1, or if there was, it's stuff that I wasn't super picking up on. Obviously, you have, like, the very first thing in the opening is a bunch of regular real-world shit that looks destroyed. And the businessman episode, as they're, like, at the very start, they're like, hey, we're just burning shit that's been frozen in ice, and it's just regular stuff. I'm like, okay, I kind of get what you're doing there. I said, like, I don't think the Mushroom War was referenced. Mm-hmm. I don't know when that first gets brought up. If that's, like, after the Lich, which we saw the Lich in the Billy episode in just, like, a minor flashback. I'm like, that's important later. Holy shit.
That guy's totally not a problem.
I don't think there was anything I, like, super picked up on with Marceline or the Ice King, though... I've seen I think it's called I Remember You, but, like, I've seen that episode. I fucking cried when I saw it.
It's like, I know that's, like, the only thing about Adventure Time that I know is who the Ice King is, and kind of, like, that whole basic backstory with him and Marceline. Like, that's kind of the only spoiler I know, and that's a big part of the show.
I've also seen the last episode, because, like, I saw it when it aired, and I was like, oh, it's the last episode of Adventure Time. Like, I gotta watch it. It's less of like, dude, I have to know what happens, and just more of a, out of sheer respect for how big this show is, I've gotta watch it. And I remember liking it, but also like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. And so I will say, watching Season 1, I think I was expecting something more like, this is a weird comparison, but stay with me, like Avatar: The Last Airbender. And the reason I say that is because the first season of Airbender, while still being very episodic, is establishing a lot of world building, a lot of culture, a lot of lore. And that's just not what the first season of Adventure Time is. It is just like, here's random episodic bullshit.
Because even Steven Universe did that. It's like Steven Universe was super episodic in the first season, but it still laid a lot of groundwork for the plot going forward. This, all it really did was establish kind of the core cast. And even then, not everybody, because I know there's like a Flame Princess who's like a main character later on. There's like Finn, Jake, BMO, Princess Bubblegum, Ice King, Marceline. I think that's kind of...
I think that's about it. I don't really know how... I don't know how big Lady Rainicorn is in terms of being a character, or if she's just there and she's cool.
Yeah.
Which...
She is.
I mean, one thing I have to bring up is I played a lot of Adventure Time Munchkin in law school. So there's just a lot of shit I now have context for. Like, Donnie was very often a win condition. Like, I'm level 9 and I'm fighting a level 1 monster. So I'm like, oh, I know who that is now. That's kind of funny as hell. And, like, Lady Rainicorn is fucking busted. Because whenever you loot the room, instead of picking another door card, you can just take a treasure card. That's just her ability. It's like, it's stupid useful. Oh, I don't know when the gender bent episode is. Like, I don't think that's still
Fiona and Kate?
Yeah, or... I want to say that's like season 4 or 5. Like, I feel like it's a while. I've seen that. That's funny as fuck. I know there's 2 of them actually, because Marceline isn't in the first one, and then in the second episode of the gender bent, it's Marshall Lee, the Vampire King,
and he's voiced by someone I know. It's the what's his name? This Is America guy.
Childish Gambino.
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I'm pretty sure
I didn't
it is.
know that.
Yeah, let me look that up. 'Cause
I
I'm
know
pretty sure.
NPH was Prince Gumball. That's the only one I remember off the top of my head.
Donald Glover.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's actually hype as fuck. I don't think I have anything else. We'll get to you in a second, Princess. I liked it. I don't think I quite loved it. But I had a really good time, and I feel like it's one of those, I'm like, this did a... And again, it's kind of like the first season of Avatar. I'm like, I don't quite love the first season. I love episodes in it. But it's not till season 2 for me where Avatar goes from like, this is like pretty damn good to
a masterpiece.
This is fucking phenomenal. Because I still say season 2 is my favorite season of Avatar.
That's hard to disagree because it's like I like season 3 a lot, but it does have a weaker first half and it has a kind of a weak finale, in my opinion.
I still really like the finale. Like, I do get what you're saying. I like the finale,
but energy.
The lion turtle.
The lion turtle could have been done way better. Because it's like, I always thought that, because I knew about the energy bending thing before I watched the show, I thought it was going to be explained, like, this is what happens when an avatar masters the 4 elements, this is the power they unlock, this is why they are so cool. And no, it's just like, boom. You can win now. Thanks, Lion Turtle. You're the best.
Oh, that reminds me. That's another thing I fucking loved about the first season of Adventure Time. People say kill and die all the fucking time. Like, Jose and I watched the dub of G Gundam a few years ago, and they specifically, like,
never
can't say
that.
Die, can't say kill, shit like that. Avatar, for the most part, doesn't say it. They'll say, like, ways around it, and it really felt like in the last few episodes, it was like, I don't want to kill the Fire Lord. And
that's
I feel
when you
like
knew shit was getting real.
That's when you knew shit
they
was
said
real.
The K word.
And then in Adventure Time, if it's weird if you don't hear someone say kill or die in an episode.
I guess that's something we also need to bring up.
I fucking love it.
Is the adult humor that they were able to get away with, because like they were like the nuts and the sack, like the nut princess sack, you know, like shit like that.
Which
it's like they were able to get away with a lot in Adventure Time.
Not adult humor, but it's from that same episode. Speaking of saying like kill and die, that fucking squirrel, I just like wanted to kill Jake, but it's just so funny to me. It's like, you remember me, Jake? No.
Honestly, I loved the squirrel in that episode because I thought it was just a one-off gag. When, like earlier in the episode, where it was like, hey, "Why would anybody hate me?" And it was just like a weird like Family Guy-esque like cutaway
really
gag.
Was.
But no, it came back a couple times and it kept getting funnier. But yeah, like Adventure Time.
Pick up the letter.
Adventure Time gets away with a lot, which is impressive considering some of the shows that were inspired by it. Like Steven Universe like has like kind of no adult humor. Like,
and then you have regular show.
You have regular show, which is more of an adult cartoon.
I feel like Adventure Time paved the way, really paved the way for something like regular show.
Gumball though gets away with so much. I will never forget the fucking like
the motorboating,
or the blowjob joke.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It's like the balloon, and he's in the bathroom, and he's like, I don't think I have the strength to inflate. And then it just cuts away with just Gumball walking away, just looking disgusted, and the balloon's like, thanks, Gumball. Don't mention it. Yeah, they did that. Gumball gets away with some shit,
Gumball
man.
is great. Like, it's one of those shows, like, I haven't, like, sat down and watched Gumball, but I've seen a good amount of episodes, and I'm pretty sure I have just, like, busted out laughing every time I've seen
I haven't
one.
seen enough episodes, honestly.
I know there's an entire episode about how there's, like, they're making fun of the Chinese knockoff versions.
And then they fight the actual Chinese knockoff by the end.
Gold.
I think another one was, it's like they
Don't hug me, I'm scared, parrot.
There was that, but no, it was the, they get hired to do like a sponsorship, and Gumball refuses out of like principle, but the episode starts running out of budget, so they have to run to do the sponsorship, and as they're doing it, the animation is degrading until it's nothing but storyboards.
I think I've seen that.
And I think like by the end, it's like fucking flip notes, like fucking post-it notes, like with the crude drawings of the characters. It's great. But back to Adventure Time. I think it was a very well-balanced show. I liked the characters a lot. I can't wait to watch season 2.
Okay. So yeah, I know that was something we had talked about. Is like after season 1, are we gonna do season 2? Are we gonna like maybe watch some Pokemon? Maybe watch some of the MCU? I think we are both in agreement. We're gonna go into season 2.
I think we're doing season 2.
Okay, sounds good. We'll keep you posted.
All right.